Total Screen proudly presents their official podcast, On Screen, with your hosts, Tyson Gifford and William Rohrig. Hello, everybody, and welcome to On Screen, the official podcast of the Total Screen. My name is Tyson.
My name is Will.
And today we are finally getting to Abigail. It's not because we were, super psyched to cover Abigail, but we were going to cover it a while ago, and it just straight up disappeared off the streaming service we were going to watch it on. So, we had an opening. We had to fill it in with something. We looked, saw Abigail was back up on a streaming service, and said, okay, let's just do Abigail.
It's up on Peacock if you haven't seen it, if you want to watch it.
By the time they listen to this, it'll probably be gone.
Yeah, there's no telling how long it's going to be on Peacock, but
right now it's on Peacock.
Right now it's on Peacock. If you're listening to this, you can check. It may or may not be there. Good luck.
Peacock should be the true home because it's universal, so.
Right, yeah.
So unless they license it to another streamer, which happens all the time, weirdly enough.
This is why, the streaming era is, so frustrating.
Yeah. Just, you have your own properties. Why don't you keep them? Use that to leverage. But it's no, we want to make money by licensing it to a competing streaming service. So then we're not allowed to carry our own content.
Right. Oh, yeah.
It's just weird. It's so weird, but that's why we didn't cover Abigail before. This is a movie that's been out for a couple of years now. The reason we're talking about it now isn't because of some the hot topic to discuss or something. It's just that we were going to talk about it a while ago and never got the opportunity to until now. But yeah, so that's kind of our main topic of conversation. In addition to that, we've got a few trailers to go over, just 2 trailers, and a weird short film that Nintendo put up. In our news segment, we're going to go over that. But let's start things off with On the Horizon. On the Horizon. On the Horizon is where we talk about what's coming up in the next week or so, and we're going to start things off with The Chair Company. We discussed the trailer for this. This is the one from Tim Robinson. It's coming to HBO Max on Sunday, October 12th, and it's just that signature Tim Robinson, weird, I think you should leave style humor, but connected to a larger serialized plot, in a TV series.
Yeah.
Next, we got DMV. So this is a new comedy series that stars Tim Meadows, who's in a show that we're going to be talking about next week. But he's got a workplace comedy set in the DMV, and that's coming on Monday, October 13th to CBS Paramount Plus. It kind of surprises me that they haven't done a DMV workplace comedy yet. It just seems ripe for it.
Right? Yeah, it definitely does.
Splinter Cell Deathwatch is coming to Netflix on Tuesday, October 14th. This is the animated Splinter Cell series with Liev Schreiber as Sam Fisher. Again, that's Tuesday, October 14th on Netflix. Devil in Disguise, John Wayne Gacy is another true crime series coming to Peacock on Thursday, October 16th. This is a series though. It's not a documentary thing or something. It's actual, a narrative story about John Wayne Gacy, the killer clown. The Diplomat is returning on Thursday, October 16th to Netflix. I believe this is its 3rd season that's going into now. That stars Kerry Russell and Rufus Sewell, as well as some others. It's a British series, but with mostly American characters. Pokemon Legends ZA, or is that ZA? I've heard it both ways. You have to tell me, what's the official pronunciation?
It's Pokemon Legends Z through A.
Z through A is coming on Thursday, October 16th to Switch and Switch 2. Everybody playing on Switch will soon have a piece of melted plastic underneath their television set. And everyone playing on Switch 2 will be enjoying PS2 quality graphics for the first time in the franchise. But that's Thursday, October 16th to Switch and Switch 2. The Twits, which is an animated movie that we're going to discuss later. It's one of the trailers we're going to discuss. Based on the works of Roald Dahl, with the voices of Alan Tudyk and Natalie Portman, amongst others, is coming on Friday, October 17th to Netflix. After the Hunt, this is a movie with Julia Roberts. It's already getting kind of Oscar attention or whatever. It's kind of a Me Too story where she plays this older, I think she's a professor, and there's another professor professor that like works in her department under her that's being like accused.
Huh.
And that's coming on Friday, October 17th to theaters. Black Phone 2 is also coming to theaters on Friday, October 17th, as is Good Fortune, which is the Keanu Reeves as an angel helping Aziz Ansari by taking over Seth Rogen's life. And that's also coming on Friday, October 17th to theaters. So 3 movies set in theaters. And that's it for our On the Horizon segment. Now we're going to move on to On Beat. On Beat is our news segment. We've got 2 trailers to go over, but first, Nintendo yesterday, at the time of recording this, we're recording this on Wednesday, October 8th, but on Tuesday, October 7th, Nintendo put up a short film called Close to You, a little touching short film, very like typical what you'd see in like an Oscar category for animated short film type thing.
It looked like a Pixar film, to be honest. It looked like a Pixar film. It was about a baby, and stuff started magically moving, most notably like its pacifier. And the baby is like kind of like following the pacifier around the room. And it was a cute short. There wasn't like anything overtly connecting this to Nintendo. There was like no Nintendo Easter eggs, no like Mario plushies or anything that looked like Nintendo branded in the background or anything like that.
I think it was done by Illumination, really, but we don't even have confirmation on that.
Nintendo Studios is most likely who did this. Because
Nintendo Studios, I don't think has animators. I think they just work in collaboration with other partners. I think it's kind of like Sora. You know, Sora is just
Nintendo Pictures. It's an animation studio. They did the animated Pikmin films for 3DS as well.
But I thought they outsourced those. I thought they just
No.
I thought it was like Pokemon Company doesn't actually make the Pokemon games. Game Freak does.
134 employees as of 2025. Yeah, like
but
they were formerly Dynamo. They're formerly Dynamo Pictures before Nintendo
Okay, so they actually were an animation studio before.
Yes, they were actually an animation studio.
Because it looks very much like Illumination to me. Like
this
it looks like
this might be in. It's funny enough because Death Stranding 2 on the PlayStation 4 Death Stranding 2 on the PlayStation 5 has a credit for Nintendo Pictures in the credit because Nintendo Pictures did the motion capture for that game.
So what you're saying is that Nintendo made Death Stranding too.
Yes. So that is kind of a funny aside there. So, like, they didn't confirm, but, like, it's assumed that this is Nintendo Pictures. They might have had help from an outside studio. They might have had help from Illumination.
And it looks like Illumination to me, like the character models and stuff.
It could very much just be Illumination. This could just be Illumination as well. It was a short little thing. People were, like, curious, like, okay, what is this? What does this have to do with Nintendo?
The two big theories I saw popping around was that it was, like, the Rosalina backstory in the new Mario game, which is kind of ridiculous.
That was the most ridiculous one, because I'm like, it didn't look like anything like that.
And the closer one was Pikmin. My guess, which turned out to be incorrect, is just that this is just something that fucking Nintendo did. Like, I just imagined, like, maybe somebody working on the Mario movie at Illumination did a short film, and they showed it to, like, Miyamoto, and Miyamoto said, oh, we'll distribute it through our Nintendo app.
We'll just put it on Nintendo today.
Yeah, like
this random animation that this employee made. We'll just slap it on Nintendo.
I just kind of figured the way it just went up with nothing else, with no other information, just made me think like this isn't a game tease. It's obviously not running on in real time. It's not like anything like that. So I'm like, so I just thought like there's no.
People did point out
thing.
it did feature music.
Yeah.
Like, reminiscent of Pikmin music. Or, like, it was Pikmin music. You know,
but I mean, that's just, like, jazz piano, you know?
Oh, yeah. The people, like, pointed that out. And today, Nintendo released a new version of the same short, which revealed that, yes, it is Pikmin. It is very much Pikmin. It's a Pikmin short.
All those invisible forces were Pikmin.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing we still don't know what this is about. Like, we know it's an animation about Pikmin. We still don't know what this is about. A lot of people are...
Even though I was wrong that it wasn't connected to anything, or I didn't think it was connected to any of Nintendo's franchises, I still don't think this is connected to any, like, game or something.
I don't think... Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
This is like the Pikmin animated shorts that they already did.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, I don't think this is, like, signaling that a game is happening or anything. I think this is a short that they're going to just put in front of Super Mario Galaxy in theaters. You know, this is going to run before the movie, similar to, like, the way Pixar movies usually, like, have a short animation that plays before the main Pixar movie.
I don't know about that just because they already showed the whole thing, so I don't know if they're going to bother with that. They might have a whole other short ready for that, you know?
I just think, like, this is about that. They're going to run it in the theater. They probably just threw it up on Nintendo today so people could watch it ahead of time. Like, I don't know.
It's weird also that they did it in the two steps, that they did it with everything invisible, and then they did the second one with the Pikmin.
It is.
And that also makes me think it's not going to run before the movie, because it's like kind of a 2-act thing. It's meant to be seen twice in that way, and I can't imagine they're just going to play both versions back to back or something, and it wouldn't really make sense to me for them to play either version without playing the other one, and they've already released this 8 months ahead of when next Mario movie is coming out. So I think this is how this is being released, is just through this. And if there is like an animated thing that plays before the movie, in like the way they always used to do cartoons before movies, and like Disney does that now again sometimes, like some of their animated movies, I can't remember which one. I saw one animated, it was like a Pixar movie or like a Disney Animation Studios one, I can't remember, and they had like a Simpsons animated short before it. And that's kind of like they hadn't done that in years, and they started doing that again. And then I think, didn't they do something before the Mario movie too? Wasn't there like an animated short?
I mean, I didn't go to the theater to see that, so I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
I think doing that, putting animated shorts in front of like movies like the Mario movie makes sense. I just don't think it's this because they've already shown it to us.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't really know much like the purpose of this, other than like it's something they came up with, and maybe this is just content this is just something to like give Nintendo Today like more content, to be like, hey, you should be checking Nintendo Today because it's not just news. There's also going to be stuff like these animated shorts, that you can only see first on Nintendo Today. So it's maybe they're kind of be like, yeah, you should be checking this app daily. There's going to be things that you don't expect on the app.
I think Nintendo as an entertainment company, they produce a ton of shit that we never see.
Right.
Like from concept art and like other things. Some of that concept art we end up getting like through like, it's a wallpaper through like, if you can spend your silver coins on it,
Yeah.
And stuff like that happens. Or like we saw a bunch of the art, like concept art during the last Nintendo Direct. Like they did it before the thing, and they said that that's going to be in the museum and stuff. But there's a ton of stuff through the years. There's like little demos and stuff. I remember I went to an E3 one year and they had a demo that was very like Tom and Jerry. And it was just a video. Like it was using real-time N64 graphics, but they looked better than a game would because it was like programmed in. It wasn't, it wasn't FMV, but it also wasn't like there was no gameplay to it. It was just like an animated short or something. And it was this very like Tom and Jerry thing. And they played it at their booth at E3. And it was nothing. Like nothing ever came from it. And then remember when they were showing GameCube and they were showing tech demos, and they showed a tech demo not for the system, but for the system's ability to do FMV. And they showed this demo called Rebirth that was like about this like plant creature or something, like going through a forest or whatever. And it was just a video, like it's not connected to anything. It's just there, I think as an entertainment company, Nintendo just produces a ton of this shit as like proof of concepts, as other things like that. And we just don't see it, And I think I think that this is likely what this is. This is maybe a proof of concept. Maybe this is like Illumination saying, hey, Nintendo, we made a proof of concept for a Pikmin movie.
Maybe.
And they made like a little short film, and then this is what it came from, Or maybe it's an idea Miyamoto had, and he just put a team on it and they just did it. The other Pikmin short films that have come out, like those really served no purpose either. They were just there. So So it's kind of weird. It's just like, it's a weird situation, but I think a lot of people are reading into it like, oh, this means Pikmin 5's coming, or Pikmin are going to be in the new Mario movie, or, and it's like, I don't think it's any of that. I think it's just straight up, they just dropped a Pikmin short that they happen to make. And I think it feels weird to us because Nintendo, like I said, they would produce shit like this all the time, and we would just kind of get it maybe in like a hack leak or something, or we'd get it in like 20 years later, like a translated comic book would come out that they made like in limited release only in Japan or something before, and like now it's like released as like an art book or something.
I think what makes it confusing is not the short itself so much, it's the way Nintendo released it, just dropped it completely like unannounced with no warning, no context surrounding it. There was like no text to like explain what it was.
Yeah, it's not called Pikmin Close to You, it's just called Close to You.
Yeah, it's just called Close to You.
It literally says Close to You at the beginning, and then like that's it. That's like the only text on screen.
There's the Nintendo logo at the end when it ends. Like, yeah, that's it. So it's just like the way in which it was both released and presented, because like Nintendo didn't say, oh, we're working on an animation, or we have an animation we're going to drop on Nintendo today, look out for it. They just did it. And it didn't seem to like be related to like anything, and there's like no context to it. There's no commentary from Nintendo about it before or after it was dropped. Nobody involved in the production got featured in any like mini interview to like explain it.
Yeah.
It was just
not even at the end credits. There wasn't anything like, there wasn't even like credits at the end.
There wasn't even credits. It was just like, here is this random animation.
Yeah, very strange.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very strange. Nintendo
I miss this. I don't think this is attached to anything. I think this is a completely...
No, yeah. But I was thinking, like, people were saying, like, I don't know, man. I don't think it's time for a new Pikmin game. Like, Pikmin 4 just came out, like, a couple of years ago. What was it, 23? When did Pikmin 4 drop? Pikmin 4 was released in 2023. Yeah, so that was just like 2 years ago. We're nowhere close to Pikmin 5 being released, so it can't be that.
Yeah, I think that what this kind of reminds me of, not because it's like it, but just the response. The way fans were like picking it apart and trying to figure out, like using color pickers to see like, oh, I think there's a blur in the background. Maybe it's red, or you know what I mean? Like the way people were obsessing over this, it reminds me of when like the Pandora's Tower like website went up. And like people were like data mining it and finding like Bible verses hidden in the code and shit like that, and they were like, what is this? Is this Zelda? Is this like a game where you're going to play as Zelda? Cause there's a blonde female on the, in the artwork, and there's all this stuff like, what's going on? And everyone was trying to kind of like read into it. And it was a completely new game, not even made by, Nintendo themselves, but made by Gambarian, who's like mostly does like anime license games or whatever. And it was just, but people were going crazy, like analyzing every detail of it, trying to figure out what it was. That ended up being Pandora's Tower, a game, This is like different in the sense that I don't think this is attached to anything. I don't think this is like promotion for something. This is just like a short film that's like Pikmin related. That's it. It's not anything else that we know of. Maybe there is. I don't know, but I don't think it is. But it reminded me of it in the fan response of like people going nuts, going like, this means Pikmin 5 is coming. This is our first footage of Pikmin 5.
That is not your first footage of Pikmin 5. No way.
Yeah.
Even on the Switch 2, I know the Switch 2 is more powerful, but it's not going to do real-time graphics on that level.
Yeah, it's not going to look that clean.
Yeah, it's not going to look that clean. We're not looking at...
PlayStation 5 isn't putting out anything that clean.
We're not looking at secret Pikmin 5 footage, that's for sure.
Exactly. It doesn't even look like Nintendo's like internal designs, like for the characters and stuff. Like it looks, like I said, it looks like an American studio, like Pixar or Illumination or something, or a Western studio, I should say. I think Illumination isn't even American. I don't know.
I have no idea. I haven't looked into it.
But anyways, it's just such a weird thing that Nintendo dropped, and I kind of like it when they drop weird stuff. It's just, it's like,
I do too.
Yeah, I wish they would do this with games. Like I wish, like I brought up the Pandora's Tower thing. I wish they would do that when they would have like a new game that is like completely unrelated that they're releasing and we have no idea what it is. I wish they would do like what they did with Pandora's Tower and just like have a random website pop up with shit hidden in the code. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I wish they would play with the fan base in that way. Like let the fan base like dive into it and try to scour for clues and stuff, and let that be kind of your first stage of marketing. But I think all that stuff's cool when they do that. And I think it's cool when they put up just like random short films and shit like that too. But it is such a weird thing.
And it's funny because as far as I can tell, the second one they dropped this morning that like revealed like it's Pikmin, I don't think they posted that anywhere outside Nintendo Today.
No, they didn't, which is also goes with it. It's kind of, I think they blew it because they should have released the original video on their YouTube channel and then the new one on Nintendo Today only.
Yeah.
And I think they did that with the second one, but they didn't do it with the first one. And people were posting before the new one came out, when people were talking about Pikmin, and were like, well, you don't see any Pikmin. And so he said like, oh, there's a line of dialogue in the Pikmin mobile game that says like, Pikmin are invisible, but you can see them on your smartphone.
Right.
And I snarkily responded when that happened. I'm like, well, I watched the trailer on my smartphone and didn't see any Pikmin.
Also, like, I just thought, like, oh, well, that's just a conceit for the mobile game. Because the mobile game is like, oh, the Pikmin are in the real world.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously, they would have to come up with some narrative, some cutesy excuse for why you can't normally see Pikmin.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But, I mean, it makes sense, though, like, that they might play into that as part of the joke or something. That they do one where you can't see him and one where you can see him. I just think they might have missed... I think they did it right on the last one by making it only on the Nintendo Today app, but they missed the opportunity by posting the first one on the Nintendo Today app. They should have posted the first one only like on YouTube or something, and then, then you watch the next one and you can only watch it on your smartphone. And that's how you can see the Pikmin. I think that would have been like clever. Of course, a bunch of people would have watched the first one on YouTube on their phone too. So I guess ruins that whole point anyways. But just so weird. But I like weird Nintendo. So do more of it, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Next up, we've got 2 trailers to go over. First one we already mentioned in our On the Horizon segment. We mentioned the Twits is coming up on Friday, October 17th, but we got the first trailer for that as well just a few days ago. And yeah, this is a new animated Netflix movie. They've done pretty good with some of those. They've actually done a pretty good job with some animated movies in the past. But this is based on characters and ideas from like Roald Dahl, who did like, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and stuff.
Definitely.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the BFG, Matilda, James and the Giant Peach.
Yeah, all kinds of well-beloved children's classics.
So yeah, he's got this one called The Twits. It's about this kind of older couple or something that kind of hate everything, including each other. And it's just kind of a weird story about orphans versus these guys and all sorts of other weird magical shit. It looks like a good animated family film, most of the stuff that's family based now seems very like it's only like watched this year and then nobody's going to ever talk about it again, kind of, you know what I mean? Like they don't try to make it timeless at all. They don't even bother, and this looks like more along the lines of traditional where it's trying to make it kind of feel timeless.
Right. Oh yeah, exactly.
And then the next trailer we got was for Ballad of a Small Player. So there was I think a teaser or like just a very short trailer that had come out before for this. And we talked about it amongst the two of us, but we didn't end up putting it on the show because there just really wasn't all that much to it, to talk about at the time. But they put out like a more full-length trailer where you get more of a plot. It's about gambling. I think it's in Macau, where it's a gambler. He's in Macau. It's played by Colin Farrell, the Penguin himself. And it's just kind of this very beautiful looking film about a guy who's incurred all this debt and he's trying his hardest to like gamble to win enough money to pay off his debt before it's too late.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. Colin Farrell's great. Looks like it's going to be like a wild, manic thriller. I don't know, it looks good.
Yeah, and that's it for our On Beat segment. And now we're going to move on to full spoilers. This week on Full Spoilers, as I mentioned at the top of the show, we are going to be talking about Abigail. This is from one of the writers and the directors of Ready or Not, who also did the Scream movies.
The last two Scream movies.
Yes.
Yeah, they weren't involved in, like, the first 4.
No. They did Scream, which it was just called Scream, but it was like the 5th one. And then they did the 6th one. And I think they were originally supposed to be doing the 7th one that's coming out, but they dropped out.
Yeah, they dropped out not long after the star of Scream 5 and 6, and was going to be a star of Scream 7, Melissa Barrera, was fired.
Yeah.
From production.
For political speech.
Yeah. A very unfortunate incident. But apparently the Scream 7, they just announced Scream 7 is going to be in theaters in February. So, like, apparently it's done filming. I didn't even know, like, it already wrapped production.
I think Neve Campbell's back for that one.
Neve Campbell is back for this one. She set out Scream 6 because they didn't give her, like, a big enough bag to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least she was up front. They weren't willing to pay her what she was worth, so she didn't do Scream 6. It's the only one she didn't do, but she's going to be back for Scream 7.
Yeah. This is that team. And like I mentioned, they also did Ready or Not, which we talked about 2 weeks ago on the podcast. I saw this in theaters, and you didn't get to see it till now. As I'd mentioned at the top of the show, we were going to discuss this like months ago, and didn't end up doing it just because it got pulled from the streamer that we literally like announced that was what we were going to be doing the next week, checked it on the streamer, it was there, and then like a day later it was gone. It just disappeared. It was like not on there anymore. But yeah, now it was back on Peacock, so we took our chances with the hopes that it wouldn't be pulled again, and watched it. And this is your first chance to see it. So how was the worst kept secret twist in a movie ever?
It was good, although, like, the sucky thing about knowing the twist is, like, you're waiting for it to, like, happen, and it doesn't happen till an hour into the film.
Yeah.
Like, so you're waiting for, like, a whole hour for, like, Abigail to vamp out. And it's like, okay. They tried to play it off, like, from dusk till dawn. I don't know if it works that well, to be honest. And I don't know if it's colored because, like, I already know twist, but it's like, they revealed the twist in the trailers for the film. If you watch, like, any of the trailers for the film, like, you know she's a vampire.
I mean, the posters, like, too. The posters show her, like, in the ballerina outfit, covered in blood, bearing fangs, you know?
Yeah, marketing was not hiding it, so I don't even know why they tried to go in that direction with a twist.
This was also originally developed as a remake to The Daughter of Dracula, which was like a movie that came out in the 30s from Universal. And that makes it even more obvious because, like, even before the movie was being filmed, the Hollywood sheets and stuff were talking about they're making a remake to The Daughter of Dracula.
Which it was, like, very obvious her father was supposed to be Dracula. He's not called Dracula in the movie, which I like because, like, that would have been, like, way too corny, I think. They
did the thing, it's kind of cliche, but I like it all the same.
Yeah.
Where when the character gets introduced, they say, like, you know, you're Christophe Lazar, and he says, I go by so many names, or something.
Yeah, he's like,
it's cliche, but I like it, you know?
No, I liked it too. I liked seeing him at the end of it, because, like, I was wondering if we were, like, going to actually get to see her father. One of the things, like, I liked is he's like this big time crime boss and stuff, right?
Like, very Kaiser Sose, the way they talk about him.
So, yeah, people are like feared of him, and I'm like, oh, and I'm just like sitting there thinking all the time, oh, he's probably like a really ancient, very powerful vampire. He's probably like orders of magnitude more powerful than anybody else.
Yeah.
And we do get to see him a little bit at the end. Like, he makes an appearance at the very end of the film.
He doesn't really show any of that great power or anything. He just kind of shows up, but like...
No, because there's like the sub-story or a subtext about absentee parents.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with like the main protagonist, like, basically being a drug addict and skipping out on her son, which she regrets. It's also, like, very much, like, Abigail, like, very much makes it known, like, her father is, like, very much an absentee father, or like, he doesn't care about her, from her perspective, at least.
Yeah.
You know? So there's that.
And then you also have the parallel with the true villain of the movie. The character Frank is also, like, that comes out kind of as a footnote on his character, that it comes out that he's also like an absentee father.
Yes, yeah, that's kind of like a footnote on his character. Dan Stevens, from what we know from Legion, doing his best Joe Pantoliano impression. Because I was
very, like New York Italian American.
No, like, literally, like, I was, like, watching the movie. This dude reminds me of Joe Pantoliano, like a young Joe Pantoliano. And I know it's like not actually the actor because he's like much, much older at this point.
It took me a while to realize it was Dan Stevens when I saw it in theaters.
Yeah.
I'm like watching it and I'm like, who is that guy? He looks so familiar.
He looks so familiar.
And it took me a while to place it. It wasn't until they were like in the house, I think.
I'm like, this dude is doing such a perfect Joe Pantoliano like impression.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's not that guy, but it's like, oh my god, he reminds me so much of him. It's insane. And I'm like, and I know I recognize the actor regardless. And it wasn't until like after the movie I looked it up and I was like, oh, that's Dan Stevens. That's such a crazy transformation he did too, because the dude's an English guy. So like,
yeah,
the fact that he could do like that convincing, but he ends up being the actual like main villain of the movie.
Yeah.
It's not even Abigail, it's him. Because we have a Giancarlo Esposito in like a very minor cameo role.
Yeah, very small role. We only have like basically 2 scenes with him.
Yes, but it's a pivotal role. He's basically like a vampire who was like turned by Abigail and is like working for her, helping her secure these victims. And he ends up turning Dan Stevens' character, which I need to consult my notes here to remember everybody's name. Frank.
Yeah.
Frank.
Well, these are
code names. Yeah, these are
They're all Rat Pack. So it's like Frank Sinatra, Don Rickles, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr. I don't know who Peter or Joey are in reference to, but there were other Brat Pack members that, I don't know.
We should very quickly just run down the basic plot and who these characters are before we get deeper into any discussion. So
let's just say how the movie starts, because that's kind of where it starts. It starts, there's a plan to kidnap this ballerina girl, this young girl.
Abigail.
Abigail. And these people are going to kidnap her, and they don't know each other. They're not sharing their names. That's like their little rule they have, that I think the character goes by the name of Frank.
They've all been hired by Giancarlo Esposito's character.
Lambert, yes.
They've all been hired by Lambert to do this kidnapping. And basically the idea is they're going to kidnap this young girl who is the daughter like of a very rich, very powerful person. They don't know who the person is at this point, just that he's rich and he has a lot of money. And the idea is that they're going to sit on her for like 24 hours. And they're going to get a cut of that money,
it's like a $50 million ransom, and then they're going to get like $7 million each, and Lambert's going to take the rest. That's what they're sold on.
Yeah. So they're all basically people who are involved in, the criminal, in crime, criminal organizations. Joey was Melissa Barrera's character. She's the final girl of this film. She was a military nurse. She became addicted to
Melissa Barrera,
morphine.
by the way, is the girl that we talked about being fired from Scream earlier.
Yeah. Melissa Barrera, she became addicted to morphine and other drugs, and she had to drop out, and she ended up basically being a mob doctor, doing work for the mafia.
But because she was addicted, she fucked up and accidentally let somebody die that was important.
Yeah. Frank, Dan Stevens' character, he was the next detective who who went undercover in the crime syndicate and basically enjoyed his life there so much that he basically became corrupted and, switched teams.
Mm-hmm.
Rickles, we don't learn like much about him. We learn he was a soldier, but
he's like the second one to die of the group, and he's kind of the quiet, brooding character.
Yeah, he's quiet.
He seems like he might be the guy paired up with Joey at the beginning. Like he might be the one that kind of gets along with her or something. But it turns out he's this kind of sniper guy, and
I like how you wrote for Kevin Durant in the notes, killed Ben Linus' daughter.
If you're in Lost, then that's who your character is.
That's who your character is, yeah. Kevin Durant from Lost, of course. We got a Lost alum in this. He plays Peter. Again, he's just dumb muscle for the mafia. He's literally all brawn, no brains.
Former military, started stealing what he shouldn't have because he was upset with everybody considering him being so stupid as he is. And then he just kind of became like a crook for hire.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely. Dean is a getaway driver. He's also really, really stupid.
On a bit of a sad note, the actor who plays him, Angus Cloud, passed away before the movie came out. That's why the movie ends with a dedication to the actor.
He passed away in 2023, sadly. The actor Angus Cloud, rest in peace. And then finally of the main thief group, the kidnapping group, we have Sammy, who is a computer hacker. She comes from wealth. She comes from a very wealthy family. She basically stole from her family and then stole from anybody else she could.
Again, goes to like the absentee parent aspect.
Yes.
Her parents weren't involved, so she rebelled by stealing from them and then got addicted to stealing and became like a hacker that started stealing from places she probably shouldn't have.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And then you have Abigail, the kidnapped ballerina / vampire, Lambert, her servant, and then Christophe Lazar, who is the big, bad, scary...
The Kaiser
Soze. Yeah, the crime kingpin, who's also, like, basically Dracula.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, they'll call him Dracula in this, and, like, I'm glad for that, because that would have just been too on the nose.
It isn't like a rights thing or anything, because, well, first off, Dracula's public domain now, but also, it's universal, lame. And they could have directly called him that, but they hint that it's Dracula, you know?
Yeah, they hint that it's him, yeah. And played by Matthew Good. So that's basically it. One of my big complaints about the movie, though, going over the cast, is like most of these characters are pretty underdeveloped and don't really have anything interesting to do or to add to it, other than be like a body. I think the most disappointing is Sammy. I feel like they didn't give Catherine Newton like any good material in this movie, and I feel like her character had potential to be like fun.
She is kind of connected to one of the coolest scenes.
Much with her. Yes, they have
which is where they had the thrall scene, you know?
Yeah, the thrall scene. That's a cool scene. Again, character-wise, it's disappointing because, like, she's turned, but she becomes a puppet for Abigail, and it's like all Abigail's, like, doing it. So, I feel like they could have done more with her character. I didn't really care about Dean as a character. I was just waiting for him I was hoping he was going to be the first one to die, honestly, because he was so annoying and so stupid.
And you got your wish.
Yeah, like, he was like, okay. I liked Peter more because he's like kind of like a lovable dumbass, but he's still a dumbass. He's still like shallow as a puddle.
He also killed Ben Linus's daughter.
And then Rickles is basically nothing. He gets the fewest lines of like anybody and like the shortest, least backstory.
Yeah, they kind of, like I said, they kind of paired him up with Joey. Like it was going to be like the two of them were going to be the final guys, you know? It was going to be the two of them and then Rickles would die and then Joey would be the final girl. That's kind of how they set it up like it was going to be. And he ended up being like the second one killed.
Yeah, he ends up being the second one killed, yeah. It's basically Joey and Frank get the most character development of that group. Yeah. And then it's like, obviously Abigail obviously gets like a lot of character. And those are basically your core characters of the movie. It's Joey, Frank, and Abigail. And then the others are there for a body count, pretty much.
Yeah. Pretty much. You know, Peter to say some stupid shit. And
yeah, here to say some stupid shit. Yeah, exactly. But it's a fun movie. It's a fun movie. I really like how they did that, how they did it. I do really like how they handled like Abigail's like character. She is like a vicious vampire, but like she does have feelings. She does have like a personality to her. Mm-hmm.
This is definitely in like a whole lower tier below like Ready or Not.
Yeah, it is. It's not as good of a movie as Ready or Not. I would also say like Dan Stevens' Frank is like he does like an amazing job with that role.
Yeah. Oh, it's Dan Stevens. He's just good.
Yeah, he's just good. Yeah. And the whole thing, the sequence like after Dan gets turned by Lambert and becomes a vampire himself with full autonomy, like he just becomes like the frickin' meanest like asshole ever.
Yeah. I think, I like a lot of the vampire effects in the movie.
Yeah.
I like that when they die, they just straight up fucking explode into blood and gore.
Yeah, blood and gore, yeah.
Like, you know, they get hit by sunlight, they don't like burn, they just, whatever gets hit just fucking bursts.
They definitely go for like maximum gore in this movie. It's the same thing as Ready or Not. They did the same thing in Ready or Not at the end where like, they just like burst into just these fucking
blood balloons, yeah.
Blood balloons, yeah, just blood everywhere. It's the same thing from like that movie.
Yeah, yeah. It's something I liked that. I also liked just a lot of the stuff they were doing with the vampire, like how fast the healing happened, you know? When she got like her arm blowing off and it just started like immediately healing, you know?
I like that like it sticks to vampire lore. It doesn't like try to like reinvent it or be like, there's like a couple things.
It plays with it a little. A lot of the stuff that they were expecting didn't work. Like she grabbed the crucifix off of Peter's chest and just starts stabbing him with it. You know?
Yeah, which also, that doesn't really... Vampire lore is like a little bit loose to where you can play with stuff in the margins like that. I remember like in Fright Night, it was like the crucifix only worked on the vampires if the wielder had like genuine faith in like God. It's like without faith, it was like useless.
Yeah.
And Peter, again, they don't go deep with the characters. Peter didn't seem like a particularly religious person in this movie, so he probably didn't have the required faith for that to work.
Yeah. Also, they did the, like, supernatural style vampire teeth.
Yes.
Like, it's not just, like, two fangs or something. It's
it's monstrous to go for, like, the full freaky monster effect. Again, like, Fright Night has that with their vampires, too, where, like, it's not just fangs, it's like a set of jagged,
sharp, ugly teeth. Yeah. Which, like, I relate that to like Supernatural, like the way they did the vampires with that,
Yeah. It's a lot cooler to me because it's definitely more monstrous.
Yeah, definitely. It's not like secretly attractive.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like they're trying to seduce you. None of the vampires in this movie are trying to seduce anybody.
I also like that they kind of hint at like more advanced vampire abilities. They did the thrall scene, but then they also had when she started flying at one part, and it was just very brief.
Yeah, it was very brief, yeah.
And then even when Frank tried to make Joey a thrall at the end of the movie, and he failed, and she didn't end up turning, and Abigail like cued him in that, the really cool vampire shit takes like forever to learn how to do.
Right, yeah,
I like that idea. I just like that that's planted as like a seed that like, there's more to it that we don't know,
Yeah, that's our thing. Like vampires typically get more powerful the older they get. So that's why like the really ancient vampires are like typically the most powerful vampires because they've been alive for so long.
Yeah, and I like when that's stuck too, like rather than just kind of making it like biological, like kind of intelligent zombies, which is sometimes what you get now,
Yeah, which is exactly, yeah. So I appreciate that. I appreciate they basically stuck to pretty much to establish lore. Didn't try to like write their own lore or be like, oh yeah, all the stuff you know about vampires is bullshit.
Yeah, I also liked we mentioned it, the whole like Kaiser Sose of it all.
Yes,
that like that's like the usual suspects. They really did like this is the usual suspects but with vampires.
oh yeah, because like people were like guessing. Well, there was like a name like Vargas, I think it was.
That's the hitman. Yeah, Valdez. That is Abigail.
Yeah, Abigail ends up being Valdez, but like there's like a sequence in the movie where people are like constantly guessing like, oh, Valdez is among us, and they're kind of pointing fingers at each other, and Frank like gets fingered, I think, by Joey mainly as like the main suspect for Valdez, or like
that's
Peter.
what Abigail tells Joey.
Yeah, that's what Abigail tells Joey. Yeah, it turns out
before she reveals she's a vampire.
Yeah, it turns out because like Abigail like reveals she orchestrated her own kidnapping for the purposes of being able to hunt and feed on these people. Like these are all people that these are all people that,
ran afoul of her father. Yeah.
Yeah. Besides the fact that they were all involved in organized crime, they ran afoul of her father.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, Joey, when she was a nurse, she was high, accidentally nicked an artery, and her patient bled out, and that was somebody that was important to Lazar's business.
Yes.
And so that's why she's on there. Frank, he was undercover going against the organization, ended up liking it, but he being undercover was a rat, and so he was against the organization from that standpoint. Sammy, the hacker, she stole money from the organization, from like accounts that she probably didn't even know whose accounts they were. She just took money from them. And it just goes like that. I don't think did they mention Dean or Rickles, what they did?
I don't remember if they
were both dead by the time that they had the reveal, so I don't think they mentioned it.
No, yeah, they were dead. So like Abigail at sea was just addressing the people in front of her.
And of course Peter is there because he killed Ben Linus's daughter.
Yeah.
And that was important
which really
to
pissed,
Dracula.
that was important to Lazar because he's a
big Lost fan.
Big Lost fan, yeah, exactly.
I really liked that actress.
Yeah.
What the hell?
What the hell? It was a fun movie. I enjoyed it. It just wasn't like as well developed, I thought, as Ready or Not. Like,
yeah, I feel about the same, but a part of me imagines that they're in the same world.
Like it could have, yeah. Oh yeah, and you could easily like imagine this is the same universe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, easily. It could have done with like a more well developed cast. Like even the characters who were going to die first, they could have made like more likable instead of like making them feel as expendable as they did.
Maybe like another 15 minutes added to the movie could have done that, just a little bit more character interaction moments, The tragic thing is that this movie is like based on a twist. Like you mentioned, like From Dusk Till Dawn. It's like very heavily based on a twist, but the twist was like the worst kept secret ever.
Oh yeah,
like,
I mean they did try to hide it.
The promotion material promoted it. When they were like talking about the movie to the trades before they even started filming, they were talking about it as a remake to Dracula's Daughter. Like there's just no attempt on any level outside of the actual making of the movie itself to obscure what this was.
Right, and then you watch the movie and vampire stuff doesn't happen until an hour into it. So it's kind of like, yeah.
It's like, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing though. It's like one of those things where, Sinners had to do that this year. Where like, we knew Sinners was a vampire movie before like it went out, but the vampire aspect of it doesn't really come into play until later. So From Dusk Till Dawn's another example. Like, I think some people went to From Dusk Till Dawn blind, but that was also kind of in the trailers and stuff.
Yeah,
people knew that it was a vampire movie.
I actually got to go into From Dusk Till Dawn blind, I did not know it was a vampire movie.
It's cool. It's cool when you can do that. It's hard though, because the people that are going to value that surprise are going to be the people that might not even be interested in the movie if you just tell them the general premise before the surprise.
Right.
Like if you just said, if you're really into like these kind of gory, like horror vampire movies, and somebody said, oh, this is a movie about like a bunch of people that kidnap a girl, that might not get you to watch the movie.
Right. Yeah.
And if you don't watch the movie, then you don't get the twist. The people that did go to watch that movie don't get the movie that they went to watch because it turns into a vampire movie. So it's a catch-22,
Yeah, which makes me question, is there even a point in doing those kinds of twists? Like,
if you can pull it off. If there's a way you can pull it off, it's an amazing experience.
Yeah.
It is a truly amazing experience if you can pull it off.
Oh, it was like really cool. Like, I was like really surprised when the vampire stuff, like the club happened in From Dusk Till Dawn, when they revealed they were vampires. I was like, oh shit, okay. This is like a different movie now.
And then some movies can actually advertise that there is a twist without revealing what it is. Like Weapons came out this year. Same thing. Like the whole tagline of the movie is like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, what happened with this? Yeah, exactly.
And then the movie reveals
Weapons
that,
was like,
you have to see the movie to get that, Like
Weapons was very smart. They did like a fantastic job of making sure that marketing didn't go and spoil the twist.
Yeah.
Making sure that the marketing was vague enough, but just interesting enough to make you want to see it, but vague enough to like not spoil it.
Krieger's like 2 for 3 on that, I think. I think Barbarian had a good surprise. Weapons has a good surprise, and Companion was kind of blown by the marketing too.
Yeah, Companion, because the first teaser for Companion was like, it didn't, but then like subsequent trailers did kind of like spoil it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to pull off because the trick is that you're trying to get the right audience that would appreciate that to watch it. But you don't want them to be suspicious. So you can't even say, dude, just trust me and watch it, because the second you do that, they go, oh, why? Why do you want me to watch it? Well, I like this kind of stuff, and that I like that kind of stuff, so it's got to be something like that. You know what I mean? Like it automatically gets your head thinking about what that possibility could be, and that itself ruins the surprise. Like being told to go in blind can also ruin the surprise in a sense. So It's like it's a total catch-22. Like if you can pull it off, it's like an amazing thing, but if you can't, then it's it's hard. And if you do it too often, you get like not typecast because it's like from the director or the writer's standpoint, you get like there's an expectation put on you. That's the M. Night Shyamalan effect,
Oh yeah. You gotta be like the twist person.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what happened with M. Night Shyamalan. To a point of absurdity.
Yeah. He had to completely basically
because he was like very successful with like the twist of his first movie, The Sixth Sense, where like most people watch that movie did not guess the twist that Bruce Willis was a ghost the entire movie.
Mm-hmm.
Most people did not pick up on that.
Yeah. And then, then he did it with other movies too. I mean, I think Unbreakable had a pretty cool twist. He did it with some other ones, and then that became his thing. And then he had to live up to it. And it just didn't end up working out.
Also the thing with interesting, speaking of like The Sixth Sense specifically, that twist, that's also like a twist that marketing really can't spoil unless they just outright tell you he's a ghost in like a commercial, because you could show like any random scene from that movie in a trailer, like every scene, and you're not going to like be like, Bruce Willis is the ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not as obvious. It's not as obvious as she's actually a vampire or something.
Right. Exactly.
It's not as distinct as that. I think, some other movies that have great twists that like blew people away in theaters, The Matrix, Fight Club.
The Matrix. Yeah, Fight Club was like Fight Club is another one, like it's a very different movie than what the marketing even promoted it as.
But see, Fight Club falls into that category because Fight Club did not market itself for what it really was. So that surprise and like a lot of the cool aspects of that movie were unknown. So it was really cool to watch. Fight Club flopped at the box office.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it did, which in hindsight surprised me, because like I watched it, I was like, yeah, like I was drawn in by the tale. It was like, okay, yeah, we got Brad Pitt in a movie about underground fighting. And then I watched it, I was like, oh shit, this is like a much more deeper philosophical movie, but it still rocks.
Yeah, and like David Fincher wasn't as known at that time.
Yeah.
Like, he had Seven, and that was about it,
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Seven, and he directed like Madonna music videos,
I mean, it was based off a book by Chuck Palahniuk, so it was going to be like something more thoughtful than like a movie about people punching each other.
Yeah. But it's like he wasn't, like after Fight Club, I think people paid a lot more attention to David Fincher and anything he was doing. But he had only had one movie under his belt at that point.
Right.
He did that.
That's
the tricky thing about Twits.
Circling back to Abigail, though, watching it, I don't think, like, even if it was a surprise, it would have been, like, that big of a deal, because, like, it's kind of like, if you watch the first half, it's kind of like, okay, they kidnapped this girl, they're watching her, something's gotta happen, right? It's not going to just go smoothly for no reason, and they're going to get their money. Some shit's got to go down.
Yeah. I think it still would have been a surprise. I just don't know if there's any way they could have marketed it and not revealed it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because to be honest, if you take that first hour of the movie by itself, there's not much to it. It's not really like any good stuff to put in a trailer, to be honest.
Yeah, there's nothing really exciting.
So it's kind of like, it's kind of its own worst enemy in that regard.
Yeah, like I said, it's tricky. People like surprises in movies, but it's really hard to get an audience to be surprised because people know too much now,
Yeah, exactly. Especially with like social media now, it makes it a lot harder to keep surprises. It used to be difficult with the internet in general, but at least back when it was like still just most people were mostly just on dedicated forums and stuff, it was still like easy-ish enough to like avoid like major spoilers for stuff. But now like with social media being so pervasive, it's like everywhere whether you want to see it or not.
Yeah, that's the trick.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sounds like you enjoyed the movie enough.
Yeah, it's good. It's a, it's solid B. I'll give it a B.
Yeah, I'd give it around there, like maybe a C plus B, like around that range. It's, like I said, I really like Ready or Not. This is not in the same tier as Ready or Not.
No, I enjoyed Ready or Not more than this movie.
Yeah. It's fun. It was a fun time, and has some good gore and stuff, and it's unfortunate that you can't really get that surprise on us with it,
Right. And it's got good performances by Dan Stevens and Melissa Barrera. Like, yeah, it's a recommended romp for spooky season.
Yeah, it's a good spooky season movie. It's not too heavy. It's not like too like dread filled. By the end, you're not like still holding on to all that dread.
No, it's pretty light actually. It's, as far as horror movies go, it's actually pretty tame, despite the amount of gore that's in this movie. But it's a pretty tame horror film, to be honest.
Like if you watch Evil Dead Rise, you get out of the movie and that dread is still hanging over you.
Yes, well, this doesn't have that.
So it's a pretty light kind of fun movie to go to. It'd be a fun movie to watch with people that aren't horror fans.
Yes,
just to kind of watch them freak out and stuff at the moments that really aren't going to be a big surprise for you because you are a horror fan.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that is Abigail. Next week, we are going to be talking about Peacemaker, Season 2, which the final episode comes out. It might already be up right now, I think.
No, it's not up right now. It's 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Thursday on Max.
Okay.
I know this because, I'm on the new episode as soon as it drops. So.
Yeah. We're going to be talking about Peacemaker next week. The week after that, we're going to be talking about Gen V. So we've got some TV shows to be talking about next. We had to kind of fill something in this week, and that's why we chose Abigail, because we're like,
also Abigail,
we need something short to get through.
And it's spooky season, so it works to do a horror movie for spooky season.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But, next week it's going to be Peacemaker. I think we're both very excited to talk about that, so stay tuned for that. Until then, you can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky. I'm at Tyson Gifford. You can follow Will on both of those platforms. He is at Foxel Hero. You can check out our website, thetotalscreen.com. If you go to our website and open up a container store for any of our podcast episodes and scroll down to the bottom paragraph, you'll find all the relevant links to our SoundCloud page, our RSS feed, all of our social accounts, all that stuff's there. You can also subscribe to our podcast through your favorite podcast kind of choice, like Apple Podcasts or Pocket Cast, and the entire backlog of our podcast, as well as additional content, is available on our YouTube channel, which again you can find by going to thetotalscreen.com and opening up any of those container stores. You can find links to the YouTube channel all throughout there. So until next week, thank you everybody for listening. Good night.
Night.
Thank you for listening to the OnScreen podcast, the official podcast of The Total Screen. Visit our website at thetotalscreen.com. This podcast can be found on any major podcast client, including Pocket Cast and Apple Podcast. The entire backlog of this podcast and other content can be found on our YouTube channel.